Well, hi there. This is Caleb Jones. This is the Sovereign CEO podcast. And hello from Yerevan, Armenia. If you're watching the video version of this podcast, I'm in my hotel room at the Yerevan Marriott Republic Square. This is one of the most expensive hotels in the entire country, and it's about $220 US. Not bad, because bless Armenia, everything's very cheap here. So I've been here for a few days working on my passport. I already have a residency here, and there will be a video about that. You may have already seen it. I'm not sure when it goes up as compared to when this podcast goes up. But anyway, today I'm going to share with you a technique that has really helped me a lot. It's a goal-setting technique, but it's more than that. It is a focus-setting technique. And the challenge with many goal-setting techniques, perhaps most goal-setting techniques, is once you set the goal, then what? You lose focus. So that's why no one ever, actually accomplishes their New Year's resolutions. By February, they've forgotten about them because life is life, and life has interrupted all your activities, and you start thinking about what you got to do tomorrow, and the bills, or the kids in some cases, or the girlfriend, or whatever's going on in politics, you dumb Americans, stuff like that. And you lose focus on your goals and you don't do it. Okay. So this technique, and I'm surprised I didn't do it sooner. It's one of those techniques where you're like, God, why didn't I? This is so simple and so powerful. Why didn't I do this sooner? It's so obvious. Why didn't I do this? Has really helped me maintain my focus. Has helped me not only help me clarify my goals, and tell me why I'm working, but also help maintain my focus when I get distracted, when times get weird, when I go through transitions, things like that. And I call this technique your number. It's called your number. And this is how it works. And it's going to sound simple. And if when I'm done describing it, this sounds too simple to you, and you're like, that won't work, it's too simple, then you're dumb. Because sometimes the most powerful techniques are the simplest ones. And that's the literal truth in business and in life. So this is how it works. What you do is you sit down with your vision. Now, I use a lot of terms. I talk about mission. I talk about vision. I talk about code. I talk about a lot of things. All these are in my primary book, The Unchained Man, at alphamalebook.com. Your vision, which is different than your mission. Your mission is why you exist, why you work, why you live. It's the meaning behind your life. It's only a few sentences long, and it's hard to come up with. Matter of fact, if you're under the age of 30, you don't even have to work on it, which you're over 30. But even if you're over 30, it's hard to clarify your mission. It took me several years to do mine. That's your mission. Your vision is something that's very different. And your vision is, this is nothing new, I talked about this before. Your vision is actually much easier. Your vision is a document, either written out or a Word document or Google Doc or whatever. And it's not a spreadsheet in most cases, it can be though. And it describes your perfect life if everything was perfect exactly the way you wanted it, within reason, within a time frame of about 3 to 5 years. And many of you have heard this story before. Many years ago, when I made my conversion away from being a beta male and being a societally programmed drone in my early 30s, I am now 50, I had a moment where it changed my life. I went down, it was a nice sunny day. I went down to the park with my laptop. I brought up this document and I wrote out my life as if I was starting from zero and had nothing. Back then I was married, I had kids, I had a location-dependent business, I had a bunch of things I didn't want. And so I said, okay, if these are all gone, it's called zero-based thinking. This is something I learned from Brian Tracy, one of my mentors. If all this was gone, okay, and I'm starting from zero now, in 3 to 5 years, if everything was perfect, not just how much money I make, but everything, how I look, what my businesses look like, what my finances look like, not just how much money I have, not my net worth or income, although that's part of it too, but how my finances are arrayed. What does my personal life look like? What does my woman life look like? What does my family life look like? What does my social life look like? What does my spiritual life look like? What does my Five Flags life look like? Would I still live in the United States? No. Where would I live? How would I live internationally? All those things. And it took me about, I don't remember how long it was, maybe an hour, and I wrote out everything. And it changed my life. And this is not a podcast on vision, because I've talked about it on other podcasts, but it's advice I've given a lot. If you haven't done this, I suggest you do this. Pretend you have nothing. If you have a girlfriend, you have no girlfriend now. If you have kids, the kids are magically gone. They're not dead, they're just gone. If you have a business, the business is gone. You're starting from zero today. What do you want for your life? How would it look? Okay. And you can certainly add back in things from your life that are missing. So what I did in my vision is that when I was done, I still had my 2 kids. But I didn't have the wife. The wife I was married to was not there. Interesting. Not that I didn't like her or anything. I just thinking rationally and logically what I want from my life, what would make me happy. And that started me on a very different path that has brought me to here. And I'm very happy I went through that exercise. So what you do is you take your vision once it's done. Okay, it might need several revisions to get done. Matter of fact, not might, it will. So you write it out, you wait 3 days, you edit it, you wait another week, you edit it, you keep going back and revisit it until you get it perfect. Okay? That's vision. I've talked about that before. Then you need to determine what I call your number. Okay? And it works like this. You pull out your vision and you put it next to you, or put it on a screen next to you, okay? Then you pull up a spreadsheet. This should be a spreadsheet, not a document. You put up a spreadsheet, blank spreadsheet. And you pull from your vision everything you want as a line item that costs money. So for example, let's say part of your vision is you live on a mansion on a lake in some country, okay? And you put that, mansion on lake, okay? And then next to that are 2 columns. There's a monthly column and an annual column, right? In the monthly column, you put how much money that's gonna cost you, the mortgage, how much money that's gonna cost you per month, or if you like, per year. What I do is use formulas. So I might plug in a monthly number, it'll calculate the annual figure, or in some cases, I put in the annual figure and it calculates the monthly figures, because I want both. And by the way, that's important. You should know the monthly figure and the annual figure both. The monthly figure, in my opinion, is more important, but you should know both. So let's say you don't know how much that costs. You don't know how much a mansion on the lake in Montenegro, right? I'm just picking a country at random. Or maybe you want to be in the collapsing USA. Not a good idea, but all right. Let's say you're out in the middle of rural South Dakota on a lake somewhere. All right, fine. Whatever that is, and see how specific that is, not I have a nice house. That's not specific enough. Mansion on the lake in this region or this country. Okay, and you can even describe the mansion in detail in your vision, and you should. If you don't know how much money that costs you per month, then you look it up. You go online and you look at mansions for sale in that region, and you come up with a rough estimate. It doesn't have to be exact, but a rough estimate how much that would cost you per month. And you plug it in your spreadsheet and calculate out an annual figure, okay? Whatever the mortgage payment or rent, if you're gonna rent the house, that's fine. There's a lot of good reasons to rent these days in certain parts of the world and for certain reasons. So you can certainly rent or buy. That's up to you. It's your part of your vision again. In your vision, you would state, I own it or I rent it, okay? So rent or mortgage doesn't matter. And you put in that monthly figure. And then you do that for everything in your vision that costs money. Everything. And I mean everything. I'll give you some random examples from my vision and my number. I want to have a massage therapist. Get your head out of the gutter, a real massage therapist, thank you. A massage therapist come to my house every week. Matter of fact, I'm probably gonna do it this year. Come to my house every week and give me a full 90-minute full body massage for me and my wife every week. Well, that's gonna cost some money, isn't it? So I have weekly massage therapist for me and Pink Firefly, and I assign a monthly figure. X per week times 4.3. By the way, that's how you do it. So if it's a weekly expense, you multiply by 4.3, not 4. There are 4.3 weeks in a typical month. You got a monthly figure and then you have an annual figure, okay? What else? I want a professional chef to come to my home and make all the food and bulk prep it for the next 5 days, exactly according to my dietary requirements and my wife's dietary requirements. Well, that's gonna cost some money. And then I have things in there that I've already accomplished, like I can travel internationally anywhere in the world whenever I want. Although usually it is not business class. That's one change I need to make in terms of this number. But what I want in terms of my number, this is my vision now, not what I have now. My vision is I can go anywhere in the world I want, whenever I want, several times a year, and I give an estimate of how many times a year I would do this, and it will be business class or first class, okay? And I've assigned a figure to that. Now that's an annual figure. So I put an annual figure and I divide it out and get a monthly figure. See how this works? And you just go through your vision and assign pricing to everything you can. And it's not hard with the internet to figure out how much this costs. I want to know how much it costs. Get on the Google and figure it out. You don't be exact, just be close, just an estimate, it's fine. Not that difficult, trust me. And you go through and it's every aspect of your life that costs money. For example, if you're gonna have children, I got news for you, bro. Children cost a lot of goddamn money. I have several videos about this, where you shouldn't even have kids unless you have strong 6-figure income or you're a multimillionaire if you're gonna live in the Western world. If you're gonna live in the emerging markets, then that's easier, that's different. But if you live in the Western world, shouldn't even do it. So you gotta plug a number in there. I have 2 kids. Well, how much those fucking things cost? A lot. Plug it in. You guys who are older and like to play the field and do sugar daddy stuff, how much is that gonna cost? Plug that in. So not just the logistics of your life, like your cool car and your cool house. Everything in your life that costs money that is in your vision. And when you go through this process, you're gonna discover new things that you want that are not in your vision. You're like, you know what? If I want this, I also want that. And you'll plug in a new thing in your line item as a line item in your number, okay? And then maybe you add it to your vision. I've been through that. So you go through and and it takes time. You have to be complete as possible. Every damn thing you can think of, okay? Bottom of the list, you have a standard number for your standard bills. Your utilities, your insurance, your basic bills. Come up with a strong estimate. Hopefully you have a budget. I hope you have a budget, don't you? You have a monthly budget. You have a spreadsheet that shows how much money you spend every month. Don't you? Don't you? Or you better. Okay, so you take that, you extrapolate out if your house is bigger or whatever, your car payment, whatever you're doing, okay? And you put in a flat fee for like bills. Then to be safe, what I would do is put another line item that says miscellaneous. Maybe $2,000, $3,000, something in there, just miscellaneous in case you forgot something, all right? Throw that in there because you want to as complete a number as you can, all right? Then, when you're all done and you're sure you're done, you're sure it's complete, this will take you some time. This is a fun exercise, by the way. You'll enjoy doing this. I had a lot of fun doing it. You're going to go down to the bottom list and your spreadsheet's going to calculate out, you're going to set that up, a total. The total amount of monthly expenses and a total amount of annual expenses, okay? All right. That number is the number you need to make per month after taxes to pay for everything in your perfect life. All right. So now, unfortunately, we have to factor in taxes. So below the net figure, you need to calculate gross figures. The way you do it is this. You have another line item below that, below the total. It's really a subtotal. And you calculate a percentage of that based on your tax bracket, what you think your tax bracket will be at that income. Now, that will completely depend on where you live. So if you live in the United States or Western Europe, God forbid, you're going to be paying a shitload of money in taxes. You're going to have to multiply that number by maybe 1.4 for 40%, maybe more, 1.5, 1.6, maybe 1.2, 1.3, depending on what you're doing. If you're doing a lot of Alpha 2.0 tax strategies, things like that. But estimate that and be honest. Don't be too high or too low. Don't be too nice on yourself. You want to err on the side of the number being bigger, not smaller. That's an important point. You don't want to whittle down this number. You want a realistic view of how much this is going to cost. It's much better for you that this number is too high than too low. All right? Very important. Now, if you live the complete 5 flags on steroids lifestyle that I live, you can multiply 4%. 3%, 5%, good for you. If you're not going to do everything I'm doing and you're going to stay in a collapsing Western country, that number is going to be anywhere from 20% at the lowest, maybe to 60, 70%, depending on what you're doing and not doing, all right? And if you're doing a partial thing where you move out of your collapsing Western country and you get some tax benefits from there and what have you, you can drop that number down. But based on what your 5 flags plans are in the long-term future or midterm future, plug in your best guess as to what taxes you will have to pay per year. Okay? But Caleb, I don't know. Do your best guess. Do your research. If you need to, talk to an accountant. Talk to a tax attorney quickly and just figure out this number. Rough estimates, okay. All right? So then you're going to have that figure, total amount of taxes you're going to pay per month and or per year to your corrupt, authoritarian, collapsing government. Okay? Then you add those two together and the final line is your gross figure. That is the number you need to make, okay, in terms of net income from your business, I'll cover that in a second, in order to pay for your vision and live your dream life. And there you go. Now you know pretty much exactly how much money you need to make. Now that final figure is a net income figure from your business. So you will own at least one Alpha 2.0 business at this point. And so we're not talking about, as I've talked about many times in this podcast and articles and things like that, we're not talking about your gross business income. You're talking about your personal net income from the business. So the gross income comes in your business. You pay all your business expenses, right? Then you take your pay out of the business. You pay some taxes, right? So before you pay those taxes, now you know how much money you have to make. That is net income before taxes. In all my spreadsheets, that number is called pre-tax net. That's the key number I focus on, pre-tax net. How much money do I need to personally net out of my companies before I pay taxes? Okay? That's my number. Now you know how much money you need to make to hit all your goals. Isn't that nice? You might be horrified at how big that number is, but that just motivates you. All right, I better get to work. Cool. You have a monthly income figure, and you also have an annual income figure. I think annual income figures are fine. I tend to believe that if you focus on monthly income, which is what I do, it drives you a little harder and motivates you a little more. That's just been my experience. When I focus on monthly numbers, I tend to work a little harder and stay a little more focused. When I focus on I need to make X amount per year, it sounds fun, but it doesn't motivate me as well. So I would focus on that monthly income figure, but you have the annual income figure in case you think that way. It's fine. And that becomes quote, your number. And so you should burn that number into your head. My number is burned into my head, although I've modified that number. I'll tell you that in a second. So now, whenever you're working, whenever you feel distracted, whenever you feel lazy, whenever you're like not sure how much money you make, your number will pop in your head and go, you need this. Because that number is now attached to your vision, which is in itself attached to your mission. It's attached to everything big. It's very, very important. And just knowing that number will help you stay focused. I've shown several guys this, and it's all helped them. It certainly helped me. I started doing this back in 2018. As a matter of fact, that was one of the decision-making factors that I used. My big decision back in 2018 was to write out my current income or go for the big money. And I kind of laid this out. I did this exercise, and I went, well, I could do that. Now, one thing about this, you will need to revisit your number occasionally. Once or twice a year, at least once a year. You'll have to go back and revisit that number because you will have changed your mind on certain things. Unfortunately, these things may go up. The cost, like for example, there's a certain type of home I'd like to have here in Dubai, even though I'm not in Dubai right now, I'm in Armenia, but what have you. And the number I had in there was a certain large number. And because real estate prices are going up in Dubai, I had to recently revise that number upward, which revised my overall number a little upward. So you'll have to make adjustments like that. Or you will find that if you go down that list, maybe in a year, you won't really give a shit about some of the items on that list. You won't really care. Per my other content, this number will go up or down based on your family life. So if you have children, this number is going to be much bigger, much bigger. If you are married and or live with your girlfriend, this number will be much higher, even if you follow my OLTR marriage standards I talk about over my Alpha 2.0 content. Wives cost money, live-in girlfriends cost money, even if they have their own money, even if they have their own income. Children cost money, things like if you have to take care of an elderly parent, those of you who have to take care of elderly mom, elderly dad, that's going to raise your number, right? So that should be a line item in your list of mom or dad or what have you, family support, however you want to do it. Okay, your number's up to you. Just be aware, you don't just set this number and you're done forever. This number will go up and down over time, okay? Now, last piece to this technique, and this is optional, and I actually don't recommend this for most of you. I only recommend this for that percentage of you who are extremely motivated to make a lot of money. That is only a percentage of my audience. My guess is that's about 15% of my audience. The other 85%, you don't need to do what I'm about to say. But if you're a maniac like me, you got big fucking goals. You want to hit the big numbers. You got a big, strong mission. You're excited to work. You're excited to kick ass a little bit. What I did was I took my number when I first figured this out several years ago and doubled it. Okay, so my number is actually double, not quite double because it's gone up over time, which has helped me buffer this. My number is double the original number that I calculated. Not 20% more, 30% more, 50, double. I said, okay, if I'm going to work this hard to hit this number, when I hit this number, I want to be 100% sure this number will carry me for the rest of my life. This is the number I have in my mind for the next phase of my life when I hit age 54. I'm 50 now. I got 3 more years. This is the number I have in my mind. So I'm going to bust my ass this hard, okay? Because I bust my ass. This is the number it better be. And I want to make sure that number will carry me for the rest of my life. So if weird things happen to the world, prices go up, oil prices skyrocket, we have economic collapses, no matter what happens, I'm fucking covered. Because I have double what my perfect life number is. And it's a big number. Now, it's a number I'm capable of hitting. Not a big deal for me. I'm almost there. Not almost there, but I'm in the strike zone. Let's put it that way. I can't give you these specific figures. But anyway, it's an achievable number for me. So I did that. Now, you can do that if you want. If you are a motivated guy, go ahead and do that. If you're not, please don't do that. Just make sure your number is very complete and as high as possible to include all the things in your life. And then regularly update that number as needed. It's very important. This technique has really helped me a lot. This technique has helped me when other techniques failed in terms of keeping me focused, in terms of setting my goals, in terms of, managing my life, because I'm constantly reminded of this number. And I made it kind of a nice, neat, round number, somewhat, kind of. It's a monthly number for me. I know I'm not going to tell you what the number is, but I kind of rounded it off to a nice, neat, easy, memorable number, and I just constantly have this number in my head. Constantly. If I have a bad day at work, and I usually don't, but if I have trouble in my business or transitions in my life, I go, God damn it. I just remind myself of my number. I go, you need to make a month. And I go, oh yeah, I get it. And I immediately get excited again because I know what that number means because I know my list of stuff. You can even regularly review your list of stuff on your number because that's motivational too. Although that's what your vision is for. You just reread your vision. But you can do both. It's fine. No problem. Give that a shot. Try that out. It takes a little time, okay? But it's a fun exercise. And it's something that is not difficult to do and is kind of enjoyable. The only negative aspect of this is that when you see that number for the first time, you might go, holy fuck. Now let me address that really quick. There will be some of you who see this number and go, oh my God, I could never make that much money. And it's just way out of your comfort zone. If that's the case, then you can negotiate the number. You can draw the number down a little bit. You can deduct some things or reduce the price of certain things. That's okay. You can negotiate your vision. I don't think you should, but you can. You can't negotiate your mission. That stays locked in stone forever, all right? But your vision is flexible, malleable. So you can negotiate items like that because I don't want you to pursue a number where you're like, you think most likely incorrectly that you just can never do that. Then, all right, fine, then drop the number down a little bit. That's okay, that's fine. When I hit the big numbers, or excuse me, I actually hit some of the big numbers, but when I determined my numbers, they were big. But I sat there quietly on my couch and I went, okay, could I do this? I went, yeah, I could do that. Shit, I know guys who make that kind of money. Some of them are younger than me. So yeah, I can fucking do this. It'll take some time. It'll take a few years, but sure, I got time. I'm young, I'm 50, I'm young. So there you go. I would strongly suggest you do this and I think you'll get some positive results out of it. Cool? Cool. All right, I'll see you in the next podcast. Bye.